A local eatery that'll soon close its doors comes under fire. The allegations of workers' rights violations by former employees.
Sun Prairie's first school board members were taking a look at how the board selected them.
Plus, amending the Wisconsin Constitution, why Republicans are trying to solidify voter ID requirements. It's all ahead on News 3 Now at 10.
Thanks for joining us tonight at 10, everyone. We have new information tonight about Short Stack Eatery after it announced it will close in May of this year.
Our Merrill Hubbard spoke with people who used to work at Short Stack and a law professor to learn more about workers' rights.
While local customers will miss this popular breakfast spot, former workers from here say that Short Stack had its shortcomings.
Honestly, there were good and bad parts about it. Like, it was a fun job for the most part.
Elle Honorbaum was a front-of-house worker at Short Stack for more than 6 months in 2021. She says that she loved her coworkers, but that she experienced some issues with the owners and how they divvied up the tips.
There was talk about it all the time, like, where are my tips going from fellow coworkers? And it just seemed like it was a really hard thing to pinpoint, like if or when it was happening, because we weren't really told about it. But sometimes their paycheck would just be a lot lower.
At Short Stack, tips are divided among all staff from one jar. Honorbaum doesn't remember losing tips of her own, but she does remember it being a topic of conversation among her coworkers.
So we thought that was weird, but we didn't really know what to do about it.
Workers sometimes received emails like this one from management, where it outlines updates in operations and states, quote, "Please read and respond to this email within 3 days or lose cash tips."
I would argue that disciplining an employee by removing the tips they make in a day is not legitimate discipline and is not something that should be allowed under the Wage Payment and Collection Act.
Alexia Kulwick is a UW-Madison law professor in the Department of Labor Education.
So one other thing I'll say is there's a lot of stuff in employer handbooks that are unlawful.
The co-owner of Short Stack, Alex Lindenmeyer, texted me a list of its tipping policy. Number 3 on that list states, quote, "If tips are lost due to tardiness, for example, that tip money is put back into the shared tip pool and redistributed to all other employees." Only Professor Kulwick says that taking tips is unlawful.
You have to pay them. You can't just deduct money like as punishment for something. So I have a real problem with that policy.
It's been years since Honorbaum worked at the eatery, but like many of her colleagues, she still has questions unanswered.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get some answers on that, because that's always what I think of when I think of Short Stack, that they were stealing our tips.
Reporting in Madison, Merrill Hubbard, News 3 Now.
To learn more about workers' rights, you can visit Worker Justice Wisconsin. It's a nonprofit that helps workers understand their rights and find solutions outside of taking legal action.
A Monona area cafe closes its dining area due to a malfunction with the sprinkler system. This morning, a sprinkler head at Ancora Cafe and Bakery on Monona Drive malfunctioned, spraying the diners. Ancora says the location's drive-through is still open, or customers can place a pickup order online that can be grabbed at the drive-through window. There is no timetable for the reopening of the dining room.
We will continue to stay cold, but snow could be on the way for the Madison area. Alex has more on when we could see some flurries.
Yes, flurries for Friday, and then we're watching potentially a Clipper-like system for Sunday, increasing confidence in that. We're going to talk about that over the course of the next 30 minutes. That snow chance across southern Wisconsin. Don't want to let your guard down on Thursday and Friday. Could have a slick spot or two for the morning commute, but our attention is really going to turn to Sunday, where we could be looking at nearly impactful conditions across southern Wisconsin with the potential for that accumulating snow. 10 here in Madison, got to do some currents here, so if you have to step outside quick, maybe take the dog briefly for a late night walk yet. 8 in Lone Rock, 7 in the Dells, and 10 in Janesville. So it's feeling like January. It's a chilly night out here, although it's not breezy out on the patio. I like to point that out. So it's 10 in Madison. It feels like 10 in Madison because we don't have the wind. 9 in Middleton, 10 in Stoughton, and 9 to the southeast in Edgerton. Tomorrow we'll see those temperatures climb up to where they should be for this time of year, with just a few clouds building in out ahead of that weak weather system that could comes in Thursday going into the very beginning of Friday. And coming up in Maine weather, that best track for Clipper snow, I'm going to talk how that impacts our snowfall amounts or what we could potentially get out of that weather system on Sunday.
Alex, thank you. Sun Prairie School District announcing its newest school board members. Now, this comes after 2 board members quit just months ago because of issues at the district level.
Our Tanisha Shaw spoke to the board members about how the new members were selected.
Sun Prairie School District officially fulfilled their vacancies at the school board. Both Steve Urso and Colleen Eulenkamp will replace former board members Lisa Goldsberry and Alvin Foster.
Yeah, we are so excited to welcome Steve Urso and Colleen Eulenkamp to join our board.
The school board president said the entire process to choose the new members was public and about 20 people attended.
The process included all of the applicants submitting their resumes and a 750-word or less statement about what their priorities were and where they thought the district needed to improve. And then on Monday night, we interviewed all of the candidates who chose to come for their interviews, and then the board voted on our 2 new candidates.
This comes after both of the former board members spoke out after resigning. Foster leaving because of, quote, issues related to black staff members historically. And Goldsberry resigned because she said the district will, quote, go to great lengths to protect the status quo.
Working to ensure that Colleen and Steve have a smooth transition while maintaining our ongoing work. We'll add new perspectives as we work towards continuous improvement.
I did ask to speak to both of the new school board members on camera, but both of them declined. Reporting in Sun Prairie, Tanisha Shaw, News 3 Now.
Tanisha, thank you. The school board will host its first public meeting with the new members on Monday night.
An ice skater is rescued this morning after falling into Lake Monona. Madison Fire says the person was found about 200 yards from shore northeast of Monona Terrace. They were able to get themselves out of the water and onto the ice. A craft deployed from Law Park made its way to the skater and pulled them back to shore. They were taken to the hospital and treated for non-life-threatening injuries. MFD says the area where that rescue happened contains ice heaves. Those are areas where pressure has caused ice to crack and move, creating some instability.
After being a space for athletes and fans for 30 years, the McFarland Community Ice Arena is getting a facelift. The $3 million addition will more than double the current facility, adding a practice ice rink, a training area, new locker rooms, and an expanded lobby. So far, the arena has raised nearly $200,000 of its $600,000 goal. Starion Bank is loaning the other $2.5 million needed for the project. The arena's board of directors president says the economic impact will trickle down past the arena itself.
Those 25,000 people come not only to the rink, but they come to McFarland. They're coming to our restaurants. They're using the area hotels.
If you're interested in donating, you can go to mcfarlandice.org. The arena hopes to have construction completed in June.
If you're starting out 2025 with a holiday spending hangover and some fresh credit card debt, it may be time to focus on improving your finances. Bankrate analysts say the best way to get started is by attacking your debt, either by paying down the highest debt cost or paying off a couple $100s on a credit card. Next, they say pull back your spending, cut out expenditures that you may deem unnecessary, and then focus on saving. Put a little money away for retirement. And the Labor Department's job report is due this Friday. So if you're in the market for a new job, how you can stand out among the other applicants, business consultant experts recommend keeping your resume updated. That way you can apply as soon as you see that opening that you're interested in. And networking can also always go a long way. Even if you're just reaching out to someone on a site like LinkedIn, when you do get that job offer, they say it's important to know just how to negotiate a salary and research the average pay for that position.
The Internal Revenue Service says its free file-guided tax software will be available starting Friday. The program only works for people who made less than $84,000 in adjusted gross income. If you made more than that and you want to file free, you'll have to use what's called free file fillable forms.
Well, today, lawmakers in the state Senate debated a photo ID requirement for voting. And right now, you do have to bring a photo ID to vote, but that's a matter of state law. Adding this to the Constitution just chisels that a little bit more into stone, making it more difficult to get rid of. Republicans are pushing for this over fears that a liberal state Supreme Court could throw out the law. Here's the author of the proposal.
This amendment is here today because I am unwilling to let this basic election integrity measure be overturned by the Wisconsin Supreme Court.
Well, the key thing here is that it's a constitutional amendment, so voters get the final say on approving the policy. Lawmakers are rushing to get it done so it can appear on the April ballot.
And a moment of silence at the state capitol today. Senator Kelda Roys, who represents Madison, called for it in honor of the victims of the Abundant Life Christian school shooting. 14-year-old Ruby Vergara and 42-year-old Aaron West before the room went quiet. The senator spoke briefly to her colleagues about gun violence over the past few days. Community members have been donating to the ALCS Emergency Recovery Fund through Make Your Meal Matter at Culver's restaurants across Wisconsin. Tomorrow, a few Texas Roadhouse locations in Madison will participate, giving 100% of their funds to the cause. Those locations are the ones on Watts Road and Anna Mark Drive. And the nation is honoring the late former President Jimmy Carter. Tomorrow, President Joe Biden has declared January 9th a day of mourning. As a result of this designation, the U.S. Postal Service will not deliver mail. The U.S. Supreme Court, the stock market, and government offices will also be closed.
After the break, Alex tells us about our chances of snow in the coming days.
And wildfires devastate the West Coast. The damage is being reported as the flames show no signs of stopping.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
Thousands of firefighters are working around the clock battling 4 vicious wildfires near Los Angeles.
At least 5 people have died and more than 100,000 are under evacuation orders. Elise Preston has the latest from Malibu.
Block after block, the devastation is overwhelming in Pacific Palisades.
The whole house just collapsed.
Where the most destructive fire in Los Angeles history is still burning out of control.
We're absolutely not out of danger yet.
Ferocious winds are fueling blowtorch conditions. Burning embers are flying for miles, sparking new fires.
It's been something we haven't seen before.
Weary firefighters working for more than 24 hours are trying to get the upper hand.
We're just trying to do the best we can right now.
In Malibu, the fire jumped the Pacific Coast Highway, destroying several multi-million-dollar mansions. Many ran for their lives, sheltering in their cars.
We saw people crying in their cars. We saw people praying in their cars. People are just so concerned. And even if their homes are safe, for now, they're concerned about their neighbors.
About 30 miles to the east in Pasadena, this man watched the Palisades fire on TV.
I said, by the grace of God, that's not us. And here we are.
The Eaton fire leveled much of Altadena's main business corridor. Some fire hydrants have run dry.
I'm going to break down again. That's what I feel.
91-year-old Dale Short's home of 60 years burned to the ground.
It's my whole life.
This is a tragic time in our history here in Los Angeles, but a time where we're really tested and see who we really are.
Damage is expected to reach into the tens of billions of dollars and likely will take years to recover. Elise Preston, CBS News, Malibu, California.
Plants that have not burned in 30 years, low humidity and dry conditions are also fueling the fire. This is the driest winter in Los Angeles since 1964.
Well, many people in northern Wisconsin are hoping for snow, and one family in particular is looking to keep their unique 40-year tradition alive. Morgan Martens is a member of a mushing family that has taken on some of the biggest races, and this year their sights are set on the 40th John Bear Grease Sled Dog Marathon. Despite last year's consolation, Morgan's still hard at work training his team made up of 36 Alaskan Huskies through the northern Wisconsin wilderness.
Like, the biggest part of training a sled dog team is keeping the dogs healthy. We're going to be covering long distances together as a team, and we're going to have fun doing it.
That's mushing, Susan, right? Mushing?
Right, you got it.
Not mushing, mushing. It'll be a bit longer than expected to see if Morgan will finish the race. The Bear Grease was originally scheduled for January 26th, but organizers have moved it back to March 2nd.
A lifelike robotic puppy is helping bring comfort to seniors battling dementia. Jenny, the robotic Labrador Retriever puppy, responds to voice commands, touch, and even barks and wags her tail. Tom Stevens created the interactive support animal after his mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease and her beloved dog had to be taken away.
These puppies are designed to treat the behavioral and psychological symptoms of dementia, reduce the need for certain medications, including psychotropics, and we aim for them to be the first FDA medical devices.
Jenny works just like a smartphone and needs to be charged overnight. She's on display at this year's Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. Pretty amazing.
And she doesn't steal sandwiches like on that
like your dog. Well, we already know it'll be cold over the coming days in southern Wisconsin.
Alex has the latest on those snow chances.
Yeah, let's take a look. This is what we've had so far for snow this winter, 9.4 inches. This is where we should be for this time of year. Multiply that times 2. So we are way behind in snow. And we do have some snow chances in the forecast. We've been talking and focusing on Thursday night and Friday. That weather system looks light. We're going to eye up this Sunday weather system in much more detail during this weathercast here. But we don't want to forget, if you do have to step outside, I got to take Loki for a brief walk, my dog. 10 degrees, that's what we're going to be walking out into, but he doesn't mind the cold. It's chilly out there. This is where we should be yet for this time of year. 8 in Lone Rock, 7 in the Dells, and 10 in Janesville. We'll warm up to the upper 20s with clouds filling in out ahead of that weak weather system as we go into Thursday afternoon and Thursday evening. Snowfall for average for January, 13.7 inches. Now, we're still early in the month, but all we've had is a trace, and we're going to need to start adding to that to get up closer to that average. We're not going to add too much of that according to Future Track, just sparse areas of snow late Thursday night going on into Friday morning, 6 a.m. Few flurries out there. Can't rule out a slick spot or two on Friday morning, but not expecting widespread travel conditions on Friday. As we see here with Future Track snow, a dusting at most with that weak weather system Thursday going on into Friday. Now we're going to fast forward into Saturday night, going on into Sunday. Let's watch Future Track. Snow breaking out from Madison and points off to the north and west. As we go into the early morning hours of Sunday, it becomes widespread as we move a little bit further into the day. Notice how widespread it is as we go into the afternoon and early evening hours. The track of this weather system, there's a big swirl here. That swirl is more towards the north, up towards central Wisconsin. That's important to note. Even though we have periods of snow, the main track, according to Future Track today, of this Clipper-like system looks to be to our north, and I'm going to explain why that's important. The Clipper system ideally needs to track just south of Wisconsin to bring the more appreciable snows to southern Wisconsin. So we'll be keeping a very close track on that track in the first warn weather team the next couple of days. Nonetheless, still looking at 1 to maybe 2 inches of snow across southern Wisconsin, waking up to Monday morning when the Clipper-like system is all said and done. But I want you to be tuning in to our broadcast, the First Warn Weather app, channel3000.com, and Facebook on the track of that weather system, because if it comes a little bit further to the south, we could be looking at a little bit more in the way of snow as we go Sunday into Monday. So seasonable Thursday, Friday, a little snow Friday morning as a recap, better chance of snow on Sunday. Look at the temperatures as we go Monday night into Tuesday, all the way down to 0. We may actually go below 0. So a brief period of pretty chilly weather, cold weather rather, Tuesday and Wednesday before our temperatures inch their way back up to normal.
And coming up in sports, John Blackwell has been balling out for the Badgers lately. What his teammates had to say about his last 2 games. That's next on News 3 Now. Since the calendar turned to January, John Blackwell has been stuffing the stat sheet for the Badgers. 53 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists, and a steal in just 2 games. He'll tell you that the most important stat of all of that is 2 Wisconsin wins. But his teammates know when he's playing like that, it's fun just to sit back and watch John go to work.
He's a special player. We've known that since last year. He can create his own shot, and when he gets going, we kind of just sit back and watch, get him the ball, and let him create for us. Like he does so well. He hit me on a great pass, or just go to work and just get to the bucket. So he's fun to watch.
Just confidence in my coaches and my teammates. They just trust me. They know how good I am, and I know how good I've worked. So just continue to be consistent with it.
Meanwhile, Max Klesmit's status for Friday's game against Minnesota is up in the air, with Greg Gard calling him day-to-day. The Badger guard suffered an ankle injury at Rutgers on Monday and was wearing a boot at practice today. Klesmit is averaging 10.5 points per game this season for the Badgers. It was a late tip for the Bucks tonight. Deer taking on the Spurs. So far, so good. They're up double digits in the fourth. And get this, Giannis, Dame, and Brook Lopez have combined for 62 points after 3 quarters. Jordan Love was listed as questionable on Green Bay's first injury report of wildcard weekend, and as far as what he did during practice, well, Matt LaFleur said he was limited, but he said it with a smile. So we know he's going to play on Sunday. It's just part of gamesmanship. As far as QB1's message to the team as the 7 seed, just play with confidence.
It's playoffs, it's 0-0, so who cares about the record? And I really think we have to be confident. You can't go in the playoffs with lacking that confidence, because you'll get beat. So, we have one shot at this thing. I told everybody today we got, 5 days guaranteed left in our season. So just go out there, play free, everybody do their job, and just go out there and handle business.
Well, finally, some good news for the Wisconsin secondary. Rico Island is staying in Madison for another year. Ricardo Hallman is returning for his 5th season instead of turning pro. Hallman has started 33 games at corner as a Badger. And just a reminder to check out this week's Wisconsin Huddle with Layla Edwards. Show airs on Friday at 6:30 right here on News 3 Now. We're back after this.
tonight.
Annexing Greenland was the craziest idea he had 4 years ago, and this time it's his first idea.
All new CBS tonight.
Special birthday wishes go out tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
To my co-anchor of 27 years. She was only 5 years old when I started. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
It's great to have you back this
Oh,
week,
thank
too.
you, hon. That's very sweet.
Well, our producer wants us to sing to you. We're not
No.
we're not going to hurt our audience with those sounds. But we will go to Alex for a final check of the forecast.
Well, a nice day for your birthday today overall for January. A little cold.
It's always cold on her birthday.
Cold for January, right? Tomorrow, a little warmer. We'll be approaching back to where we should be for this time of year. That snow on Friday, very light. Don't be surprised to have an isolated slick spot in the morning for that commute. But better chances for snow in the forecast for those that want it on Sunday. Could be looking at 1 or 2, maybe 3 inches, depending on if that weather system tracks just right behind it. Then if the rug gets pulled out from under us, we'll be cold for a couple of days before we inch our way back up late next week.
All right, Alex, thank you. Thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 10.
Have a good night, everybody. Hope to see you back here tomorrow.